on today's episode of Locked On Canucks. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, it is the greatest day in Vancouver Canucks history. And mark it down, Monday, June the 27th, 2022. The greatest day in Vancouver Canucks history is today. And I'm so happy to be giving you guys the episode you want to hear. It's Locked On Canucks, and it starts now.
Your Locked On Canucks, your daily podcast on the Vancouver Canucks. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Locked On Canucks, the show that keeps you locked in on all things Vancouver Canucks. I'm, of course, your host, Justin Pooney. You can find me at Twitter at _process sports. You can find our show's Twitter at Locked On Canucks. Please also like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. And I also want to thank you for making Locked On Canucks your first listen of the day. Of course, we are free and available wherever you get your podcast services. Also, today's episode, monumentous episode, is brought to you by the fine folks at Bet Online. Today, Bet Online has you covered this season with more props, odds, and lines than ever before. Bet Online, where the game starts. And today, we will start, begin, middle, and whatever this episode with amazing news that was dropped today. A bombshell news that was dropped today. News that three former Vancouver Canucks, probably the three best players in Vancouver Canucks history, were inducted into the Hockey Hall of Fame as first ballot Hall of Famers. Yes, Roberto Luongo, number one, the greatest goalie in Canucks history, will be joined, by Henrik Sedin, the captain, number 33, the Canucks all-time leading scorer, and his twin brother, the Canucks all-time leading goal scorer, Daniel Sedin. Quickly, of course, Daniel Alfredsson, the longtime Ottawa Senators captain, Finnish, Rika Salien, and in the builders category, Herb Carnegie were also the nominees. So congratulations to all of those. But today, and more importantly, this show will be dedicated to the three Vancouver Canucks who were inducted. And I know yesterday we saw the Colorado Avalanche lift the Stanley Cup, but damn it, today is the day that the hockey world belongs to Vancouver. Vancouver is the center of the hockey universe today. I know all you people in Toronto don't want to hear that. You're going to get upset about that. But today belongs to the Vancouver Canucks and their organization, their fans, the city of Vancouver, the province of British Columbia, Canucks Nation worldwide. Today, belongs to you because the three greatest players in franchise history um, take their place with hockey's greatest in the Hockey Hall of Fame. And so, this first segment of today's show, I'm going to give you guys my raw and my visceral reaction earlier today to this news. Um, Quite frankly, when this news dropped, I didn't know how to react. You know, when you're just so happy, you just start laughing and smiling like an idiot. That was me. Uh, and I was on my phone and I saw the tweets from the Hockey Hall of Fame verified account saying Henrik Sedin, Daniel Sedin, and Roberto Luongo will all be inducted to the Hockey Hall of Fame. And if you remember my episode from last week where I mentioned, are they first ballot Hall of Famers? And I said they sure as hell deserve to be. We knew Roberto Luongo was going to be a slam dunk Hall of Fame. But what we didn't know was Henrik and Daniel Sedin, and the whole Daniel Alfredsson element scared me because this was his fifth year of eligibility. And Alfredsson and the Sedins had similar careers. Both, were long-standing player of Alfredsson did play in Detroit, but most of his career, and he's remembered as a Ottawa Senator. But yeah, I thought the voters would snub the Sedins because they didn't win a cup or some BS like that. But the voters got it right. Henrik and Daniel Sedin uh, were the epitome of class, dignity, leadership, toughness, hard work. Um, and as I was looking at all the reaction from it, as the news came out and the reaction started pouring out, um, it was amazing to see that those three Canucks talked about how special it was to be going in, getting inducted with one another. The Sedin twins, because the Sedin twins were going to go in regardless, but to have Roberto Luongo in there, their teammate, their backbone of those great, great Canucks teams, um, was special. And for me, growing up with these guys as my hockey idols, Marcus Naslund, of course, was my guy. But Henrik and Daniel Sedin, although they weren't my favorite behind Ryan Kessler, they were my captains, my leaders, my the bus drivers, as Charles Barkley would say, along with Roberto Luongo, who was one of my favorite players. Roberto Luongo, I have his jersey at home with the 2011 Stanley Cup final patch on it, with probably tears still stained in them. Um, and all those emotions came back today. I'm sure all of you guys out there in Canucks Nation and Canucks fans everywhere probably felt those same emotions today. Just the good times from that run. Those dominant teams that just brought so much joy to the city. Just you see the smile on my face right now. Whether it was the however many Sedin moments there was, the between the legs goal against Calgary, who could forget that? Um, when Daniel Sedin went out in the 2010 season, and people thought Henrik was what was he going to do? He proceeded to score damn near 30 goals and won the Art Ross Trophy and the Hart Trophy as league MVP. And the next year, what does Daniel do? He follows suit with his brother and he wins the Art Ross Trophy and then the Ted Lindsay Award. Uh, and those two are the greatest players in this franchise history. There's a reason their numbers are in the rafters. There's a reason why they're first ballot Hall of Famers. We have never seen anything like it before. We never will see anything like it before. Two twin brothers in the league play their entire career with one franchise, win back to back MVPs and scoring titles. Um, it was amazing. And we have to thank Brian Burke for it. Brian Burke pulled off that shrewd move in the 1999 draft to bring Henrik and Daniel Sedin to Vancouver. And the first few years were bleak. They didn't look good. They were, we used to be the punching bags, but damn, when those guys hit their stride in their primes, there was no other two players like it, no tandem like it. So going back to that immediate reaction, it was a sense of pride too. When I saw those tweets hit, when I saw the news was official, I right now where I work, I'm one of the only, probably the only Canucks fan where I work. Yeah, I am the only Canucks fan where I work. I work with a bunch of Maple Leaf fans and various other hockey fans. But the pride of being a Vancouver Canucks fan, I've always been a prideful Vancouver Canucks fan. This team, I bleed the blue and green when this team, or whatever color they decide to wear. I'm wearing the hoodie right now. This team, yeah, and this franchise is a part of me. It's a part of my soul. It's a part of who I am. Um, and these players that have worn that jersey are a part of my life. People might think that's crazy. They might think that's weird. Um, but when you grow up being a Canuck fan and when you go through all those roller coasters, um, there hasn't been a lot of moments where you've been proud to be a Canucks fan, especially of late. But damn, today it felt good to say, "Hey, I'm a Vancouver Canuck fan," because we don't have one, we don't have two, but we have three first ballot Hall of Famers. And quickly, remember this weekend I did drop the whole episodes on what is the greatest Canuck team of all time. Well, with the news today, I'm pretty sure that buries that debate. The 2011 team I would have spent longer on it if this news hadn't dropped today, but damn, it did. And the, the 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 debate is over. The 2011 version of the Vancouver Canucks um, broke every record, President's Trophy winners, whatever. They have three first ballot Hall of Famers, a Selke Trophy winner. They would have waxed the 94 team. Yes, Pavel Bure, amazing. Trevor Linden, great leader. Kirk McLean, solid goalie. But he wasn't Roberto Luongo. There was not a tandem that could, there's nobody that could stop the Sedins. Ryan Kessler was a man possessed. Alex Burrows, Kevin Bieksa. That team, Christian Aroff, Dan Hamhuis, the list goes on. Max Lapierre, Rafi Torres, whoever, Michael Samuelson. Name the list you want to put out there, whatever. That 2011 team is the greatest Canucks team of all time. That ends the debate. There's no question about it, no dispute. You can get mad about it, you can complain about it, but the facts are the facts. The 2011 version of the Vancouver Canucks are the greatest Canucks team of all time. And of course, they now have three first ballot Hall of Famers, which is amazing that a team that did not win the Stanley Cup had three first ballot Hall of Famers. Um, but yeah, it was. I still can't fathom it, but today was a day where if you are a Vancouver Canuck fan and you've been a true Vancouver Canuck fan, you are happy, you are proud. You don't know how to explain your emotions today, but damn, today it sure as hell feels good. And it's the greatest day in franchise history today, June the 27th, 2022, when Henrik Sedin, Daniel Sedin, and Roberto Luongo all became first ballot Hall of Famers, all as members of the Vancouver Canucks. And I don't care what anybody has to say. Roberto Luongo is a Vancouver Canuck, and he always, always will be. So coming up after this break, we're going to dive further into these players and just the lasting impact they had with the city of Vancouver. But first, I want to talk to you guys about the lovely people at betonline.net. It is your number one source for all your betting needs and sports info. Find all of the latest sports developments, league reviews, and news, including this year's NHL playoffs and Major League Baseball. BetOnline is your continued source for all your sporting wagering information, including live betting, esports, and scores. And betonline.net remains the best spot for all your sports scores, podcasts, and news this season. BetOnline.net is the fastest and easiest way to check in on all of your favorite sports and events, including MMA and MMA, boxing, and golf. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to learn more about the trends and action. Bet online, where the game starts. Also, we have an important favor to ask you. We put together a survey so we can learn more about listeners like you and make Locked On Podcast even better. This is your opportunity to tell us what you like and don't like about Locked On Podcast. Go to lockedonpodcast.com/survey right now to get started. It won't take very long, and everyone that completes a survey can qualify for a chance to win one of 10 $100 Ticketmaster gift cards to take our audience survey. Go to lockedonpodcast.com/survey. Thank you for your help. Okay, we are back. Greatest day in Canucks history. Roberto Luongo, Henrik Sedin, Daniel Sedin all joined the Hockey Hall of Fame on their first year of eligibility. So let's take a look at these stats because everybody knows men lie, women lie, but numbers never lie. And the numbers do not lie about Henrik and Daniel Sedin. First of all, of course, both are the all-time leaders in games played. Daniel Sedin leads the Canucks in goals scored with 393. Henrik Sedin, far and away the assist king with 830. Henrik and Daniel both 1 and 2 in points. Henrik with number 1 with 1070. Daniel number 2 with 1040. Both are top 2 in plus minus. Daniel Sedin has the most even strength goals and power play goals, also the most shots and game winning goals. Um, we'll talk about the Sedins first. Of course, brought in the 99 draft by Brian Burke. And things did not look good in the beginning. People wanted them traded. People wanted them gone. People did not believe in them because they were a little bit pudgy when they first came in. They didn't play physical. You couldn't find a line mate that would fit with them. Trent Klatt, Taylor Pyatt, the list goes on and on. Anson Carter, Marcus Naslund. There was never that set line mate for Henrik and Daniel. So hell, Mike Gillis even questioned them when if they were true number one line players when he first took over as the GM. But Brian Burke, Mark Crawford stuck with them. Brian Burke said today, if there's no people that work hard, they were the hardest workers, and they were role models. And that's exactly it. Henrik and Daniel Sedin, regardless of the numbers, we know numbers were there, warned them to be the Hall of Fame, but they were Hall of Fame people off the ice. Um, they represented Vancouver and British Columbia with the utmost class and dignity. Um, they were true role models. They were great leaders. You look at a guy like Bo Horvat, who said, taught him a lot about how to be professional, lead. Maybe not saying so much, but lead by example. They'd always win the grouse grind. They'd always win it every year. Um, you know, People thought they weren't tough. Idiots like Dave Boland and Adam Burish and Christopher Stieg and those just guys from the Chicago Blackhawks. So what can you say now? Those guys are first ballot Hall of Famers. That's the utmost. That's one of the greatest individual honors, probably the greatest individual honor you can get as a player. You get into the Hall of Fame on your first time. You're a surefire Hall of Famer. Um, and all those people that said the Sedin sisters and they were tough. What can you say now? Those two guys played in the dirty areas. What was their claim to fame or their famous thing? The Sedin cycle in the corners on the boards. They were strong on the boards. They're tough to get off the puck. They had that ability to, cycle the puck down low, find open space, small spaces. They had that twin telepathy, but then, had skill. They weren't the fastest, but they used their deceptive speed. They played smart. They played angles. They knew what their limitations were. They knew what their skills were, and they took advantage of it. And those guys were amazing. Pick your moment, like I said. Just the countless minute-long shifts, just holding onto the puck, dominating the puck. Those guys were special. And we'll never see two brothers ever play for a franchise again for their whole careers and lead that. You'll never see it again. You will never see it again. Um, and which is a treat. And like I said, those two guys right there, there's a reason their numbers are in the Raptors. There's a reason why they're still part of the organization. There's a reason they still live in BC because they are when you think of the Vancouver Canucks, you think of Henrik and Daniel Sedin, you think of their greatness. And it's a shame they never won a Stanley Cup, but today doesn't matter at all. Today symbolizes how great they are and how much they mean to not only the Canucks but the hockey world. Um, and I just want to commend them for all the greatness they've done, on and off the ice, the donations, the charities, whatever. I'm proud to say they are Vancouverites. They are members of our community, and they will forever be legends. And it's all thanks to Brian Burke, who brought them here, and Dave Nonis and Mike Gillis for believing faith in them, and Elaine Vigneault, and everybody, and especially those two who you could tell how like kind of emotional I am talking about it because um, it means a lot. It means a lot. As a Canucks fan, it just means a lot to see this, and I still am smiling from ear to ear because it's such a proud day. And Yeah, Henrik and Daniel Sedin are first ballot Hall of Famers. After all of that, Sedin is not Swedish for punch me, stick me, kick me while I'm down. No, Sedin stands for first ballot Hall of Famer, baby, because the Sedins are going to the Hockey Hall of Fame. Now, coming up after this last break, we're going to touch on Strombone one, the best goalie in Canucks history, Roberto Luongo. Okay, and welcome back to Locked On Canucks, the show that, of course, keeps you locked in on all things Vancouver Canucks. Another special episode, a special monumentous day. A proud day, a day that belongs, the hockey world, belongs to the Vancouver Canucks and the city of Vancouver because not one, not two, but three Vancouver Canucks are going to the Hockey Hall of Fame on their first try. So we talked about the two greatest players of all time, Henrik and Daniel Sedin. Now we go to the greatest goalie of all time, one of the greatest personalities of all time. Number one, and that number one is going to be in the Raptors. You're damn sure it will be. That number one, Roberto Luongo, is the greatest goalie in Canucks history. I can list off the stats. Look, most shutouts, most wins. You know the drill. Second most games played. Um, Roberto Luongo was brought to this franchise back in the '06 offseason by Dave Nonis for Todd Bertuzzi, Alex Auld, Brian Allen, and I think Lucas Krajcek came back too. But that immediate first season, Roberto Luongo was runner-up with the Vezina Trophy, the Hart Trophy, should have won both those awards because the Canucks would not have been in the playoffs that year if it wasn't for Roberto Luongo. They beat Dallas in the first round. They probably wouldn't have beat Dallas if it wasn't for Roberto Luongo standing on his head in game one and playing unbelievable. That team had no right being a playoff team if it wasn't for Roberto Luongo. Won a gold medal in the city of Vancouver, was the backbone of Team Canada in the greatest Winter Olympics of all time in Vancouver next year, leads the Canucks to the Stanley Cup Finals, where in that round one, he did not start game six, but he came in at the end. They lost that game. They lost game five. Of course, they lost game four. They had a 3-0 lead, went down. Always lost it all to game seven, where if that team lost, that stick of dynamite would have put in that locker room and that whole thing would have been blown up. Vino gone, Lou gone, Sedin's probably gone, everybody gone. But Roberto Luongo came in that game seven and shut that door against the defending Stanley Cup champions, the Chicago Blackhawks. You remember that save against Patrick Sharp? He shut the damn door and they slayed the dragon and they went to the Stanley Cup Finals in 2011. And yeah, he didn't had some bad games, but the Canucks never would have been in that position if it wasn't for Roberto Luongo because that team knew they had a goalie back there that could save their bacon. And that's what he did night in and night out a lot of times. People always want to bring up what happened in Boston or the downfalls in Chicago or whatever. The Canucks never, ever, ever would have been in that positions that they were in those years if it wasn't for Roberto Luongo. Yes, his contract sucked at the end and all that, but that doesn't matter. He is the greatest goalie in Canucks history. I don't care about Richard Brodeur. Kirk McLean is not compare. Roberto Luongo is the greatest goalie in Canucks history. And Francesco Aquilini, if you do not, in the next 4 days, by Friday, by Canada Day, I want to see press release or something saying we will honor Roberto Luongo and put that number one in the rafters where it belongs at Rogers Arena alongside Stan Smeel, Trevor Linden, Pavel Bure, Marcus Naslund, Henrik and Daniel Sedin. That number one belongs in the rafters at Rogers Arena no matter what. That this man came to this city as a savior. He damn near was the savior. He was the captain. He graciously gave it up to Henrik Sedin. He was one of the greatest characters this city has ever seen. And that team in 2011 would not have been there if it wasn't for Roberto Luongo. That's my goalie. He will never be. I don't care what anybody has to say. He's not a Florida Panther. He is a Vancouver Canuck. He retired with the Canuck contract that he signed. He had the cap recapture penalty with the Canucks. Roberto Luongo is a Vancouver Canuck. Anybody has to say he is a Canuck. Henrik and Daniel Sedin, of course, are Canucks. That is why this day today belongs to the Vancouver Canucks. This franchise has never won a Stanley Cup, but they will one day. But until that day comes, this day today is the greatest day in franchise history because the three best players in franchise history were not were given their space in the Hockey Hall of Fame today. And you could tell by my face and my emotions that I'm very it means a lot to me, and it should mean a lot to a lot of you, all you Canucks fans that have had long suffering, ups and downs, and fits and rampages and throwing stuff and whatever you do to let vent out your frustration. Today, you're proud to say, I'm a Vancouver Canucks fan. I'm from Vancouver, British Columbia, or I'm from British Columbia. I'm from the Lower Mainland. I'm a Vancouver Canuck fan. I'm a part of Canuck Nation. And I can't imagine what it would be. It kind of reminds me of when they went to the Stanley Cup Finals, but as I mentioned before, but it's just so much happiness remembering all those good times, and it needs to be celebrated. This needs to be celebrated by the organization, by the city, by the fans, by the province. Um, this means a lot, and I'm so happy I was able to have this platform to share it with all of you on how I felt. So please, in the comments, let me know how you felt. What was your immediate reaction to this news? But like I said, guys, I want to thank you for making Locked On Canucks your first listen of the day. Tune into Locked In NHL. Second, if best insight on all the things in the playoffs from local. Of course, it's free, um, available wherever your podcast services. But I'm gonna. This is my closing message. Wherever you are listening, wherever you are watching, um, go on YouTube or go wherever and watch highlights of Henrik and Daniel Sedin, so Roberto Luongo, and appreciate the greatness of those three organizations, not only on the ice but off the ice. And if you have people that hate you for you because you're a Canucks fan, go up to them and say, "Hey, I don't care what you have to say. I am proud to be a Vancouver Canuck fan because tonight, today, belongs to us. It is our night. Celebrate, reminisce, be happy, be jolly, and I will talk to you guys tomorrow."